welcome to my session. Today I'm going to present my report. The title of this paper is Effect of a Social Regulation-Based Online Learning Framework on Students' Learning Achievement and Behavior in Mathematics. Here's the outline of today's presentation. The first one is introduction. The second one, literature review. The third one, development of social regulation-based online learning framework. The fourth one is research design. The fifth, result. And the last one should be discussion and conclusion. The introduction is about how they combine online learning and self-regulated learning become a social regulation-based online learning model. So online learning is one of the learning method that offers us the easy to access anywhere, anytime. And the second one is to enrich the learning experiences. And self-regulated learning is one of the learning method that offers students about metacognition, motivation, and active learning behaviors. So by combining online learning and self-regulated learning method, then the researcher of this article they propose a model which is called social regulation based online learning. There are three research questions on this study. The first one is, are there any significant differences in the learning achievement of students who adopt a social regulation-based online learning framework or a conventional self-regulated learning framework to perform the learning activities? The second question is, are there any significant differences in the attitude toward learning mathematics of students who adopt a social regulation-based online learning framework or a conventional self-regulated learning framework to perform the learning activities? The last question is, are there any significant differences in the behavioral patterns of students who adopt a social regulation-based online learning framework or a conventional self-regulated learning framework to learn and interact? The literature review, the mathematics education. According to Sommer, Aiken et al. In 2005, mathematics education is one of the key predictors of a country's long-term potential economics. And then, mathematics education is the foundation of the future's competitiveness of a country. Next, mathematics is one of the important courses in higher education. So that's why uh, mathematics is really important in any country. But mathematics is quite difficult, therefore many students are still not willing to study mathematics related due to pressure and anxiety. So this is based on the study that done by Suarez, Pelliccioni, and Bono in 2013. So why the students are willing not to study mathematics because of the pressure and anxiety? Because low learning motivation. And the second literature review is about online learning. So by online learning, student can enhance the learning effectiveness. Then the next one is um, by the online learning, in this study, they also provide correct guidance by applying a graduate prompt approach. So talk about graduate prompt approach is kind of the method to perform the assessment based on the pre-test. They will uh, do some treatment to help the student to solve their problem, and then after they provide the prompt, then the student will try to solve another problem which is still related to the previous problem. So that's the simple meaning of graded prompt approach. And assessment based online learning approach in this study, they also apply two-tier diagnostic assessment, which is to make sure that if the student can solve the problem, then the teacher have to make sure whether the student can solve the problem by lucky or they really understand and they really can solve the problem uh, in right way. And in this study, the online learning also provide interactive online video-based learning environments. So the teacher or the system in this project or study, they provide digital materials and also they provide notes. Then this digital materials and notes will help students to solve their problem, and then they will able to relearn the digital materials, and then they will learn more from the notes. Now we are talking about self-regulated learning and social regulation. The learning process of learning starting from setting plans, setting goals, organization, self-monitoring to self-evaluation. So when the self-regulated learning is applied into the class, then the student will able to set their own plans, their uh, own goals about their study, and then learner will set goals, and then they use strategies. They can monitor themselves, and they also able to estimate the progress of achieving their goals to gain achievement during the learning process. So this is the four recurring stages of the self-regulation. If you look at from here, it's just like they set their own goal, and then they adopt their own strategy, and then they do monitoring about their strategy, is it works or not, and then they also do self-evaluation. So this is the circles about the self-regulated learning and social regulation learning method. And in this study, this is the development of the social regulation based online learning framework. The first stage is the teacher prepared and uploaded the test item and learning tasks to drill and practice. And then in this stage, the student will do the uh, the practice about to gain their basic knowledge. And then after the first activities, and then the student will go to these activities. So this is the system about social regulation based online learning. If you look at to this framework, this is the structure and environment. So we can see there are three stage here. The first one, this column is talk about courses and assessment module, and then this is contain about courses database, assessment database, online notes, and on this stage, the courses and assessment module provide the function of online note to student and assist them in completing the online learning activities. All these learning modules provide guidance and self-regulation to students during the pre-test, mid, and post-test, and assist them in understanding their learning situation as well as modifying their learning progress. And all the activities were recorded if students set goals and strategies in the self-regulated module. So this is the main view of the self-regulated online learning module. So here's the function. We can see here this is the week task, my progress. So if they want to set their goals, they have to set their goals here in this button. And then this is the system time management and learning strategies function. So we can see that student will able to set their goal, and then they able to set their learning strategies. And then this is the weekly test and unit test in the system. And then this is the screen of test review. So after they took the test, they can check their result, their goal. And then this is the content of my progress. So the student will be able to check their progress. Then by this function, then the student will able to rethink about their learning strategies, whether they have to change or to continue their learning strategies. So here the research design. The participant in this study are 62 senior high grade first student from one high school in northern Taiwan. The average age of the student were 15 and 16-year-olds, and then 32 students belongs to experimental group, which is use the social regulation based online learning framework to study, and the other 30 student belongs to the control group, which is they use the conventional self-regulated learning framework to study, so without online learning system. The teacher in this project was taught the mathematics for 15 years, and this project were scheduled to learn the same learning content and complete the same tasks in the same learning time. So we can see here the experimental procedures. Here's the suggestion of learning activities given by social regulated learning guidance in the system. Uh, a student learning behavior with higher learning achievement, and then this is the student practice strategies with higher learning achievement during the test. And this is the procedures of the experiment. If we look at here, the experimental group and the control group, they have the same time, the same learning material. So the week one to week two, they will receive the mathematics teaching related to the basic knowledge of the permutation and combination. So this is the topic, the special topic on this research, permutation and combination. And then on the week two, they will receive pretest and pretest questionnaire. So now we are going to week 4 to 6, which is there are 3 weeks on this stage, which is this stage is drill and practice per week. So here's the difference between experimental group and control group. In an experimental group, they get social regulation based online learning approach, and then for the control group, they have a conventional self-regulated learning approach. So on the week two, they will get post test and post questionnaire, and for this stage, they have 90 minutes to do the post test and post questionnaire. And on the last week, which is week 8, then they will receive or they will get delayed post test. So this is about the procedure and the experiment. So now we are talking about how the researchers are doing measurements. So there are three kind of measurement. The first one is pre-test, but on this pre-test, they have pre-test for 3 times. So that's why the total test will be 5. The pre-test is to examine whether the two groups of the student who participate in this experiment had equivalent or balanced basic knowledge of permutation and combination. And then the post-test to examine student learning efficiency in the whole learning process. And the last test will be delayed test is to examine the continuous impacts on the course knowledge of student in the online self-regulated learning environment. So the question in this post-test and delayed post-test is different, but both cover all the content of the experimental courses. The questionnaire of the learning attitude used in mathematics learning is amended from the learning attitude questionnaire of Fenema and Sherman. So the questionnaire is took from Fenema and Sherman 1976. It has 36 questions and use a positive 5-point Likert scale, and then the Cronbach alpha values was the Cronbach alpha was used to see the values of each dimension, which is quite high because the value are 0.91 and 0.92 and 0.92. And this questionnaire contain three categories. The first one is confidence in learning mathematics, which is the questionnaire is like, I believe I have the ability to learn mathematics. And the second one is about motivation in learning mathematics. And the questionnaire is if I haven't finished the question during the mathematics lesson, I will still think of it after the lesson. And the third topic is about mathematics anxiety. So it's like almost don't feel panic in the mathematics examination. Here's the result. The first one is the learning achievement. For the learning achievement, one way another was used and based on the result of learning achievement. So here's the table one is the coding sim of learning behaviors. So this is the code because in the next slide we will see what is the meaning of the code and then how it works to check their learning behavior. So this is the behavior, and there are three kind of behavior: test conducting, notes organization, and then content review. And this is the sub behavior, and this is the code. And here's the description, like what is the WT, what is SST, UT, and so on. And on the table two is the result of learning achievement shown by ANCOVA analysis. So we can see here there are three parts which is significant. And if we look at to this value on the drill and practice 3, there are significant difference between experimental group and control group. If you look at here, the experimental group has a highest mean 38.75, and the control group has 23.87. And on the posters, the experimental group also has a higher mean, and then the difference is significant. And also in a on the delay posters, it also there is a statistically significant differences here. If we look at to the mean, the experimental group has higher mean than the control group. Now we are talking about learning attitude. So to know the learning attitude, one way ANCOVA was conducted for investigating the student performance of learning attitudes. So on the table 3, we can see here that there are four uh, significantly differences between the student from experimental group and the control group. So here's the high, medium, low means it belongs to their achievement. So for the high achievement, the number of student belongs to experimental group are 11, and then 10 students belongs to the control group. So here's the practice 1, practice 2, practice 3, and so on, and post test and delay test. On this high achievement student, we can see here that only on the delay posters there is significant differences. And then if we look at to the medium achievement, and the number of students belongs to the experimental group are 12, and then 9 students are belongs to the control group. And we can see that there is a significant difference between control group and experimental group, which is belongs to the medium achievement categories here. And then this is the low achievement. 9 students belongs to the experimental group, and 11 students belongs to the control group. So if we look at to this value, there are significant differences between uh, student from experimental group and from the control group. So we can see that in each categories, high, medium, low achievement, we can see in which test that there is a significant difference. And for the table of 4, this is the cross analysis of the distribution of the pretest and delayed post-test of the two groups of students with different prior knowledge level. So this is the pretest score, and for the experimental group the number is 32, and then this is the pretest score for the control group. So this is the category low achievement, medium achievement, high achievement. And for experimental group, the low achievement student are 9 students, the medium achievement is 12 students, and then for the high achievement the number of students are 11. And then for the control group control group the low achievement is 11 students, the medium achievement 9 students, and the high achievement 10 students. And then this is the light post test. We can see uh, as we can see that for the low achievement in the classification of learning achievement, and then in delay post test we can see that from low achievement student, which is 9 student, uh, when they get the delay post test, 5 of 9 student in low achievement of learning achievement, they also has low score for delay post test. So 3 of 9 students is in the medium achievement when they get the delay post test, and then only 1 student from the low achievement of learning achievement get the highest score in the delay post test. And for the medium achievement or below, this is based on the classification of learning achievement. This is the medium, the number of students are 12, and then when they get delay post test, 2 of 12 students they get low score, 6 of 12 students they get medium score, and only 4 of 12 students they have high score when they get delay post test. And this is the high achievement uh, belongs to classification of learning achievement, when they get the delayed post-test, one of 11 students they has uh, she or he get low score for delayed post-test, and one student get medium score, and then 9 students they has a high score when they get delayed posters, and then this group is belongs to the control group. This is the low classification of learning achievement. The number of students are 11, the medium group uh, 9, the high group is 10, and we can see here their score when they get a delayed post test. And then this is the result of learning attitudes shown by ANCOVA analysis. So for the confidence in learning mathematics, we can see this is the experimental group, this the control group. Uh, Here's the mean value. We can see that the student from experimental group they has a higher mean, but there is no significant difference. And then for learning motivation in mathematics between experimental group and control group, there is significant difference between experimental group and control group. For mathematics anxiety, there is no significant difference between experimental group and control group, but we can see that the experimental group still has a higher score than the control group. And then this is behavior analysis. So this is the code that I taught before, like ARM. ARM is belongs to read the text-based supplementary materials, and then the WT means conduct weak tests. So this is their learning behavior patterns of the student in the two groups. This is the control group. This is the experimental group. We can see uh, their pattern. For example, when the student have the WT means conduct weekly tests, and then they here's the test conducting. This is the notes organization. This is the content review. So by these arrows, we can see their behavior learning patterns because their each activities they have done was recorded. So that's why the researchers are able to see to check their learning behavior patterns. And then this is the identical behavior sequences of the two learning modes. It means uh, the group from the student from control group, and then from the experimental group, they have identical behavior. So we can see for the test conducting, like UT means conduct unit test, and then from the conduct unit test, here's the conduct unit test. uh, they come from the ASTI. ASTI mean conduct summative test. So from summative test they go to conductive unit test, and then they go to the nodes organization. So node organization here from the UT they go to the AN, and then from the AN they go to the content review part, and goes to the WV. WV means watch video based supplementary materials. So by this graph you can see about their learning behavior patterns. So for the figure 15, this is the different behavior sequences of the two learning modes. This is the control group, this is the experimental group. How their patterns is totally different from the test conducting, notes organization, and content review. And then this is the test conducting part. This is the note organization. This is the content review. So we can see the pattern of the student is totally different. from the experimental group and the control group. So the discussion and conclusion part. So this study developed to develop the social regulation-based online learning framework to guide students to make reference to other students' self-regulated ways to and plan suitable learning goals and learning strategies for themselves during the online learning. And the second one is based on the result of the Ankofa analysis of the learning achievement, the mean score of students who use the social regulation based online framework were significantly better than the control group. And the result indicates that the social regulation based online learning framework it could be efficiently to boost the student learning efficiency in learning permutation and combination, which is we can say that this model also uh, can be applied into other topic, not only in the permutation and combination. And the next one is learning who use a social regulation based online learning framework. They have better effect in the knowledge continuity of learning achievement because they they learn how they manage their own goal and then how they manage the learning strategy. And then by the using regulation based online learning framework, the result is the student have better learning motivation because when they check their let's say their goal or their achievement, when they feel or they think that their achievement is not maximal, or they think that their own goal is not reached yet, then they can change their learning strategy. They can set up their new strategy, and then they can apply it to get the better result. But on the on the learning mathematics confidence and mathematics anxiety, we can see that there is no significantly difference uh, of the students from the experimental group and the control group. So this is the discussion and calculation part. And thank you for your attention.